Introducing the high-spined lizard, the Acrocanthosaurus. The prominent spinal ridge, for which it is named, supports a mass of muscle, helping it rip apart flesh and sinew alike. It is fearsome, naturally, but it's hard not to appreciate such an incredible animal. Oh, but if you're squeamish, watching it feed may spoil that appreciation a touch.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Albertosaurus to the park.
The Allosaurus, a big bipedal predator that will happily hunt or scavenge for food. This animal really isn't a fussy eater. And on that note, I'm just gonna take a few thousand steps back.
This animal is a classic predator. The Carnotaurus can move fast, has an excellent sense of smell, and is willing to sink its teeth into anything or anyone.
Underestimate the Atrociraptor and it could be the last thing you ever do. This dinosaur is a lethal predator. And worse, I've heard rumors of them getting trained to attack specific targets. We should give our animals a better life than that.
Spikes, horns, and ridges. The Ceratosaurus is covered in defensive and offensive ornamentation. Let's treat it with the care and respect it deserves.
Back when Coelophysis first evolved, all of Earth's land masses were combined into one big supercontinent. It's no surprise then that we found its fossilized remains all over the world. Oh, how far you've come, my prehistoric friend, how far you've come.
This dinosaur has a bite much worse than its size suggests. The Compsagnathus should never be underestimated, though I fear it often is. Let's make sure we educate the world about the reality of animals like this one. I have to say, I'm a big fan of the Concavenator. Logic suggests I shouldn't be, though. It's an efficient, carnivorous predator, and that always means we should be on guard around it. Its name literally means hunter with a hump. Maybe I just find that charming.
to the park.
Oh, the Dilophosaurus is a fascinating animal. Of course, we'll never know if its impressive neck frill and venom-spitting ability were traits of the dinosaur itself, or side effects of filling in gaps of the original genome. Either way, it's surprises like that that make being a paleoecologist a pure joy.
When we talk about eye-catching species, the Dimetrodon and its remarkable spine sail is gonna be near the top. Some animals need your attention. This one demands it.
A classic example of an apex predator, the Giganotosaurus. This is one of the largest terrestrial carnivores. They certainly named it well.
What a beautiful dinosaur! Its name? Guanlong. Roughly translates as crown dragon from Chinese. Makes sense too, because that impressive nasal crest shows that this animal is something special. It's an amazing addition to the site, so let's try and give it the royal treatment, right?
This efficient hunter is the Herrerasaurus. It's one of the most primitive theropods we know of. But primitive doesn't mean crude. It's well adapted for chasing down prey and biting down hard with those terrifying blade-like teeth. An amazing addition to this site.
There was a time where I had nothing but respect for the great minds behind this hybrid. The research it required, the careful genetic splicing of so many exaggerated predator characteristics. Now I respect its creators far less, but the Indominus Rex itself still demands awe.
Indoraptor. This is a hybrid predator that is as much weapon as dinosaur. I have to question why it exists at all, but at least it's under our care. Have your guard up at all times around this animal.
The Moros Intrepidus. The word Moros comes from the ancient Greek spirit of impending doom. Rather morbid, I know, but it does paint a picture of what being confronted by this animal might feel like. I'm sure under your guidance, this dinosaur will prove a much cheerier addition to the site.
The Oviraptor got its name from the hypothesis that it survived by stealing and eating eggs from other dinosaurs. It's not a feeding habit that will win you many friends, but it is another amazing example of how species rely on one another in surprising ways.
If you were looking for a reason to be amazed by modern science, then look no further. The Proceratosaurus was identified from a very limited fossil record, and yet enough of its genome has been found to create this beautiful animal. It is a privilege to have this dinosaur here.
This one feels like it's straight out of legend. Get this. A forest fire sweeps through southern France, and what's found in the aftermath? The first discovered remains of a Pyroraptor. One heck of an origin story, right? And one heck of a dinosaur. Ooh, glad to have it with us.
This long-snouted apex predator is fast, vicious, and loves to hunt. The Qianzhousaurus will put us through our paces, so we better make sure our security is up to the challenge.
Who doesn't love a walking, breathing nightmare? The Scorpios Rex, an animal so dangerous that even its creator thought it was wise to keep it contained. A dinosaur with venomous spikes, sharp claws, sharper teeth? You sure you know what you're doing?
For a dinosaur of this size, the Troodon has a relatively large brain. So let me be clear. This is an intelligent animal. Faster than any human alive, and with claws and sharp incisors evolved to do one thing, and do it well. You only get one mistake around a dinosaur like this, so treat it with caution, okay? What can be said about the Tyrannosaurus Rex that hasn't been said 1,000 times before? It's an incredible, highly developed predator. Probably the best-known dinosaur out there to boot. And yet it never fails to impress. And terrify. It's a valuable addition to our collection, as long as we keep it secure.
The Utahraptor's name means Utah's predator. What a predator it is! This bipedal carnivore is an ambush hunter. With a distinctive killing claw, deadly serrated teeth, and sheer size on its side, it's definitely one to fear if you happen to be a dinosaur living nearby.
Our scientists, and especially our PR team, will no doubt be delighted to have this dino in our collection. The Velociraptor is a real crowd pleaser. It's also among the cleverest of dinosaurs, so keep an eye on it. Seriously, because it is definitely keeping an eye on us.
Feathered tyrant, Yutyrannus. Now this Tyrannosaur ruffled a few feathers when it was first discovered. The overwhelming reaction was excitement though, just as I'm excited to see this animal in person now. It's amazing. The Baryonyx is well suited to different dietary sources, but just because an animal is adaptable doesn't make it invincible. Even this dinosaur needs a carefully planned environment, so make sure we give it an enclosure it can thrive in.
The Spinoraptor is a predatory hybrid, synthesized from Spinosaurus and Velociraptor DNA. I've never dealt with an animal that seemed to want to hunt our guests quite as much as this one. My advice? Keep it locked down tight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Suchomimus to the park.
We've got a semi-aquatic legend on site now. The Spinosaurus is a menacing figure on land, but it really comes into its own in the water. Just imagine that iconic sail slicing through the waves as it approaches your boat. Feels like something out of a movie. Well, maybe also something out of a nightmare, huh? The Oviraptor got its name from the hypothesis that it survived by stealing and eating eggs from other dinosaurs. It's not a feeding habit that will win you many friends, but it is another amazing example of how species rely on one another in surprising ways.
This hybrid, the Ankylodicus, might look nice and docile, but it was engineered for defense. A tough armored hide, a whip-like tail with a club on the end? Yeah, this dinosaur should come with a warning tag around his neck. With its thick skull and clubbed tail, the Ankylosaurus can be both a handful and also one of the premier species in this facility. Which one we get is gonna depend on how well we take care of it.
This giant herbivore, the Apatosaurus, is quite a sight, as I'm sure you'll agree. Even prehistoric predators would be intimidated by this animal. But don't let first impressions fool you. This can be a gentle dinosaur when treated well.
Its name might be a mouthful, but the Archaeornithomimus has still managed to capture hearts and minds. And no surprise either. There's something about its bird-like stature that just feels kind of charming, you know? I have zero doubts that this one will be a real hit with our guests.
Much like me, the Brachiosaurus has a huge heart. Of course, this dinosaur needs it just to get blood to the very tip of its head and tail. Whereas, I'm just that nice a guy. Did I hear someone snicker back there? If you're anything like me, you look at the amazing frill of the Chasmosaurus and think, hey, walking ad space! Now, a lot of my ideas get shut down, but boy, did that one get shut down fast!
First discovered in the Shaxi Mao Formation in China, the Chungkingosaurus is a wonderful animal. The twin rows of spikes along its back give it an impressive profile, but it's the spiked tail, its thagomizer, that is especially intimidating to predators looking for an easy meal.
Now here's a distinctive-looking dinosaur. The Coelophysis has a bill like a duck and an impressive crest on its head. Kinda makes you wonder if evolution really does have a plan or if it's just trying everything until something sticks, huh? Now that I mention it, that might be exactly how evolution works. Huh.
You know, the Diplodocus was once thought to be the longest animal that had ever lived. It might have lost that title, but it's still a much-loved and widely recognized dinosaur, which translates to big audiences. Yeah, this is a great addition to the site.
The Dreadnoughtus. This herbivore's name means fears nothing, and it's so big that I believe it.
Ooh, the Dryosaurus is a speedy little animal. It lived in what's now the western United States, feeding on low foliage and using its impressive agility to zip away from predators. If you can't beat them, run from them, right?
The Edmontosaurus is a large herbivore that moves in herds. Although it usually walks on 4 legs, this dinosaur can raise itself up onto its hind legs when looking for food or keeping an eye out for danger. A useful ability and an impressive one to watch from a viewing gallery.
There are a lot of reasons that we don't let guests ride the dinosaurs. Trust me, lawyers and ecologists have told me all of them. but the Spinosaurus is a pretty compelling case on its own. After all, those blades and spikes on its back are enough to put off the nastiest of predators, let alone a paying audience. But hey, at least it's still a heck of a sight from a viewing gallery.
The Homolocephale might seem unassuming, but that flat plate on its head isn't there for decoration. I've seen it used socially amongst the dinosaurs, but I've also seen it used defensively. Long story short, do not underestimate this animal.
Big and stubborn, the Iguanodon can be difficult to manage. Not that you shouldn't try, though. The rewards of having this incredible herbivore here outweigh any difficulty in caring for it. One of my absolute favorite dinosaurs, the Loki-Ceratops. When you hear that name, no doubt, you think of the Norse trickster god Loki. The curved horns at the top of the dinosaur's iconic frill are pretty similar to the curved horn helmet that Loki is often shown wearing, leading to that legendary namesake for this legendary addition to the site.
One of the first dinosaurs discovered to have nesting colonies, the Maiasaura is both social and relatively friendly. Its name means good mother lizard, and what an appropriate name it is.
For the length of its neck alone, the Mamenchisaurus is a sight to behold. With proper care and, as always, the right enclosure, it should prove to be one of our more impressive animals.
Medium-sized herd animal, the Nasutoceratops is known for its enormous nose and pronged brow horns. Those horns have a similar function to those of a wild cow, or even a modern deer to battle with another of the same species to determine dominance. It's the behavioral equivalent of one of Cabot's handshakes.
When people think of dinosaurs, they tend to imagine animals of a certain size. And yes, most dinosaurs are at least bigger than modern animals. The Microceratus is different. But don't let its small size make you underestimate it. They are still dinosaurs, with all the dangers that implies.
Velociraptor, a true survivor of the dinosaur world. No one is quite sure how this animal survived the mass Permian extinction event, but survive it did. It might be small in stature and toothless, bar those upper canine tusks, but the Velociraptor was a remarkably successful species in its time, and now, of course, in our time as well.
The Muttaborasaurus might look a little awkward, but you should see the size of the herds this animal can thrive in. It's a remarkably social dinosaur, and is pretty friendly with other herbivores to boot. But are you surprised? I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out with a base like that?
Like me, this animal, the Nodosaurus, is shy and likes to keep to itself. Okay, not like me, huh? But it does have thick skin. Like me. Sometimes.
This graceful herbivore, the Albertosaurus, was one of the last non-avian dinosaurs to go extinct. That long neck and striking crest makes it a real crowd pleaser. And that's also where it got its name, which translates to Titanic Swan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an ornithomimus to the park.
Here we have the Pachycephalosaurus, which is the ancient Greek way of saying thick-headed lizard. I've been called that many times myself, but joke's on them. I like this dinosaur so much that I take it as a compliment. Well, I like it from afar, at least. They can get a bit, headbutty for my liking.
The unique crest of the Parasaurolophus isn't just majestic, but functional too. Its uses are myriad, from communication to thermal regulation. Evolution is quite the problem solver.
the enormous Patagotitan, one of the largest animals ever to roam the earth. They might seem intimidating and huge, but these animals are actually gentle herbivores. Give them their space, treat them right, and they'll absolutely amaze our guests.
These cute little animals, the Psittacosaurus, are rather fascinating. They have impressive, self-sharpening teeth that are amazing at slicing through plant matter. Despite that, they still need to swallow stones or gastroliths to help them digest their food. Eating habits aside, though, I'm an especially big fan of those tail quills, and I'm sure our guests will be too.
Massive shoulder spikes? Check. A thick armored hide? Check. A really long whip-like tail? Oh, absolutely check. Would you believe I'm not describing some uber predator, but a pretty calm herbivore? See, the Sauropelta has all of the pizzazz of a carnivore, with none of the nightmares. Quiet, docile, easy to manage and control. All reasons that I prefer the Sinoceratops to my ex-wife's Chihuahua. This herbivore has all the potential to be a star of any park, so treat it like one.
Can a dinosaur be considered cute? This species, the Spinoceratops, might just fit the bill. Despite having a similar appearance to the Sinoceratops, this animal is a hybrid. It's been acclimated to a variety of environments and should prove easy to care for. I mean, as easy as it can be to care for any dinosaur.
This hybrid animal has a number of distinctive and iconic features of other dinosaurs. The Stegoceratops was designed and engineered to appeal to the masses, and oh boy, does it!
Stegosaurus might seem calm and docile, but there's no sense letting your guard down. If it's uncomfortable or provoked, it could do a lot of damage to our fences. Trust me on that.
The Struthiomimus is another species that firmly establishes the connection between dinosaurs and birds. Even its name literally means ostrich mimic. The similarities are uncanny, right down to this animal having a beak rather than teeth.
Stygimoloch is a gentle giant most of the time, until they're spooked at least. In the wild, that sort of defensive reaction keeps them and their herd safe, so try not to hold it against them if it's our fences that are on the receiving end of a charging Stygi.
This animal is like a prehistoric rhino. If you want to get scientific about it, it's called the Styracosaurus. Though I prefer rhino-dino personally, huh? It's a plant eater, and even the toughest of plants are no match for that horn plus that beak.
Dinosaurus may be an herbivore, but you could have fooled me looking at those claws. Either way, this dinosaur's unique physiology gives it a real presence, and presence always draws in a crowd. Glad to have this one on site.
Even the most casual of enthusiasts know of the Triceratops. Although primarily used for display and establishing dominance within their herd, those infamous horns can be deadly when necessary.
Maybe it's the showman in me, but I've got a real soft spot for dinosaurs with impressive-looking headgear. Take the Qianzhousaurus, for example. I mean, with a crest like that, this animal was born to be a star.
The Gallimimus is a sociable animal, but its speed is what stands out to me. The ranger teams are gonna have their work cut out for them.
Ah, the Proceratops, an herbivore with a bony neck frill and an adorable parrot-like beak. Interesting fact for you, they lay soft-shell eggs, yeah, which is something of a rarity in dinosaurs. Definitely a fantastic addition to our collection.
The incredible Albertosaurus was named after naturalist and documentarian David Attenborough. It would be an honor having any prehistoric animal named after you, let alone this majestic reptile. This site has a celebrity in its midst.
Now that is one big fish, and the Dunkleosteus is armored like a tank too. Oh, and get this, instead of teeth, it has 2 armored plates which can snap shut with more force than an Allosaurus bite. It's enough to make you never swim again. Not that I swam much before.
Named after Kronos, king of the Titans in Greek mythology. The Kronosaurus is a suitably titanic animal. This is a marine reptile that even a shark would think twice about confronting.
The Ichthyosaurus is a prehistoric pelagic predator. Try saying that 3 times fast. Just consider this a kind of prehistoric dolphin. Although, don't expect wild swimming with Ichthyosaurus to be on anyone's bucket list, huh?
The Megalodon has existed in every ocean in the world, but it tends to prefer warmer climates like a lot of other prehistoric animals. It's a truly dominant ocean predator. So, stay out of the water, unless you want to line up to be a hot lunch.
An ancient marine reptile, this one. Mosasaurus was the undisputed ruler of the seas in its time. And well, now, it's an apex predator in ours, too. When this animal is around, you don't ever go into the water.
This is the Plesiosaurus, a marine reptile that, like modern-day sea mammals, comes up for air. It can really move in the water, and has a big appetite, so don't dangle your feet in the pool around this one.
As dangerous in the air as it is on land, the Dimorphodon isn't too fussy about what's in its diet, either. If that isn't incentive enough to treat this flying reptile with respect, I don't know what is. The Geosternbergia is an ancient pterosaur with an impressive cranial crest. Thanks to its size and surprising dexterity in the air, it's capable of causing some real damage if not carefully managed.
Strictly speaking, the Pteranodon isn't actually a dinosaur, but a prehistoric reptile. A flying reptile at that. Imagine the spectacle of these animals soaring through the skies. Well, I guess we don't need to imagine it since we've added them to our collection.
The largest flying animal we humans have ever discovered. The Quetzalcoatlus. Named after the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, of course. Simply magnificent. These massive winged reptiles once dominated the skies. Now, we can see them doing the same again.
Ooh, the Tapejara! It's fun to say, it's even more fun to look at. The aerial color, that impressive sail behind its head? Yeah, this'll make even the most stone-hearted guest open up their wallet.
Thanatos Draken. Now this is one impressive flying reptile. Its name means Dragon of Death. And I bet that's exactly what it must feel like with this thing soaring directly over you. I can't wait for our guests to see this one.
Quite the impressive pterosaur. The Tropiognathus is most distinguished by its keel-tipped snout, which is easy to spot even from a distance. I'm sure our guests will love learning about and observing it.